So what is good, everybody on YouTube? We are back today with a brand new video. We are going to be doing Houston Rockets rebuild, of course, post-Harden. Unfortunately, I did record this before the Kevin Porter Jr. trade. Just say a little bit on that very high reward, low risk trade where he could turn out to be an absolute baller. So that's kind of my insight on that. But let's go ahead and try to fix this team as much as we can. Obviously, some contracts on this team that aren't necessarily the best, such as the John Wall one. But we're going to leave the team pretty much the same for year one and see what we can do in the offseason. Of course, if you are new to this channel, be sure to smash that subscribe button and like the video for your boy. And without making any changes, our team only picks up about 25 wins on this season, being led by John Wall in scoring, of course, 84 overall. But with that contract, it kind of negates it a little bit. And then behind him, you have Victor Oladipo in second in scoring, and third in scoring, Christian Wood, who I'm actually a huge fan of, and he actually had some successful flashes early on in his career in Philly, and I feel like we kind of overlooked him a lot, but it is what it is. We are now here in the offseason. We don't have any substantial really picks this season, which is okay, but we are going to definitely be making some moves. That $44 million that John Wall is making is definitely not ideal, and in all honesty, I don't love Eric Gordon's contract either. And you're going ahead and looking at these, and there's some very promising looking trades in here. In all honesty, you could get Malcolm Brogdon and a lot of other young pieces out of this, and I know this one will be giving up two of our future assets, but I do like the trade. Getting Malik Beasley and D'Angelo Russell in return, I am going to do that trade. I think it immediately makes us a lot better. And then I'm going to trade and get us a future first from the Thunder in trading Eric Gordon to the Thunder. So I'll definitely take that in all honesty. Not exactly the offseason that we wanted as far as free agency. I did want to get better names, but I brought in Devontae Graham on kind of like a 1 or 2 year deal just to have someone to play our point guard position for the time being, but the team's not too bad in general. Giannis Antetokounmpo gets MVP, and our team goes 41-41. Definitely an improvement from the 25-win season, but after all, that is not what we're chasing. We're chasing to get this team an NBA championship. Of course, you can't get it in 1 year most of the time, but we definitely made some moves that are going to help us get there. As you can see, our move to get D'Angelo Russell is paying dividends, being younger and on a better contract than John Wall and still putting up very good numbers. Malik Beasley second in scoring on the team, although he's not getting it so efficiently, but he still might have more trade value now. Christian Wood up to an 87 overall. We're coming down a little bit regression-wise of scoring, but of course, when you have better players on the team, that is to be expected. And in year 2 here, James Harden, a former Rocket, of course, ends up getting himself Finals MVP. Moving us into the draft lottery, this year we do have some picks. As you can see, we have pick number 5 in the draft. So we're going to see what we can do with this pick, and if we can get ourselves someone that can definitely at least make the rotation early on and help make a difference. So here we are at pick 5 hopping in, and the guys that are still hanging around are pretty good. Adrian Griffin is here, Chet, Jabari Smith. But for me, I mean, I'm going to lean Chet because we don't really have a solidified, great big man at this point. And to get some type of rotation off the bench for our 5 would definitely be good, as he is 7'2", has a lot of potential, and usually does pretty well in these sims. So we're going to go ahead and pull the trigger on Chet and grab him at pick 5, of course, out of Gonzaga. And our next pick is pick 14, but I'm not going to bore you guys going through all the later round picks. Now, we might have to move on from this Victor Oladipo contract because he has only regressed from this point, making $25 million a year and is 30 years old. And if I can move him and Devontae Graham here while giving us some of our future assets to get something that I really think is valuable in 2 players on their rookie contracts still in Kobe White and Patrick Williams, freeing up some of our space so that we can actually go out and get another piece in free agency, I am going to do so. Looking at some guys maybe here like Colin Sexton that could potentially come in for a good price. And we're also going to look into maybe moving Malik Beasley. As I said, he was a little inefficient last year, and if I can move him for kind of a good price, I will do it. So looking through these for him, I see Precious Achiuwa and a first-round pick. and I would not be opposed to doing that necessarily, because yet again, it would be freeing us up more money to go in after free agents. Whereas you can see, we could go after some guys. Both RJ and Colin Sexton did accept their contracts, and I would love to bring in Colin Sexton, right? But he does not really fit the needs of our team right now. We could definitely use a wing more than a guard. So I am going to go with RJ Barrett, as we already have both Kobe White and D'Angelo Russell, and bringing in a 6'2", point guard, 2 guard, and Colin Sexton does not really seem right for this team. So we're going to go ahead and grab RJ, and of course for value, we are also able to get Duncan Robinson to just come off the bench as a shooter, and our player progressions are looking really good. As you can see, our guys really getting better and better. Christian Wood up to an 89 overall pretty early on, and we have a lot of young talent on this team that's not tied up in huge deals yet, which is always a huge asset to have. Looking in the player rotations, Kobe White, D'Angelo Russell, RJ Barrett, Christian Wood, and Precious Achiuwa. And off the bench, we have a lot of really good depth here. And we got one in Nerlens Noel that I would like to try and maybe flip for a backup point guard, because we were not able to get any in free agency. So if there is any good backup point guards out there, we're going to do it. And we were able to get Kendrick Nunn out of it, which I feel like is fair, especially because we have Chet and Precious Achiuwa already. So this is what our rotations are looking like finally, and I'm really excited for this season. And why not send one of our younger guys to the G League? Because it does help their progression usually, and that's actually going to be Jabari Smith, as he is only 19 and already a 75 overall. So going to the G League could potentially put him to a 79 or 80, which would make him a role player for us in all honesty. So you see Rookie of the Year ends up going to Amani Bates there. All NBA teams, we do not see any of our guys, unfortunately, which definitely kind of sucks. But it did not reflect too much in our standings, as we were the number 1 seed in the Western Conference and had the number 2 overall record in the entire league, being led by D'Angelo Russell, putting up just about 22 points per game. And then beyond that, no real crazy people standing out scoring-wise, but a lot of just people playing their role. Everybody really doing just about 12 to 14 points per game out of the rest of our 6 people in the rotation, 1 through 6, which I'll take. And kind of looking at these stats here, as far as points per game, we are the 5th in the league, but at the same time, as far as allowing points per game, we are actually the number 1 team. We allow the very least points in the league per game, which is huge. So great defense coming from our Rockets team, and a tough first round matchup here that I would actually be scared to verse in real life of Cade Cunningham, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and TJ Warren. That is a lot of scoring coming your way, to say the very least, and we end up 3-2 on them and taking the series in 6, despite obviously their crazy amounts of scoring. We'll take it though. Moving into the second round here, up against, of course, former teammate, I guess you want to say, in John Wall, who we did trade there in the D'Angelo Russell trade. So let's see who ends up getting the revenge game here. Will it be D'Angelo Russell or John Wall, as they push us to a Game 7 here, which is definitely a little bit spooky, and hopefully we can pull it out, as it's fairly close, but we're starting to pull away a little bit, and it's getting close and spooky yet again, as we end up taking it in 5 here, 112 to 107. D'Angelo Russell leading our team in scoring with only 17, and on the other side of the ball, Jared Culver actually leading the T-Wolves. Getting us to the Western Conference Finals, where we are up against a tough team, because any team that has Luka is scary, but they also added Mitchell Robinson to play that 5. So definitely a tough team here, to say the very least. We find ourselves up in the series 3-2, and it looks like it's not going to go good for us here, as we get smoked 154 to 110 with Luka going crazy there, dropping 43 on us. But Game 7 is where the real ballers show up, so let's see what we have to offer here. Can we take it home and go to the NBA Championship? And it's looking fairly good here, as we have ourselves a little bit of a lead. It's getting cut shorter and shorter, though, so it's going to be spooky. And it's ultimately not going to be all that spooky, as we pull away, winning by 9 points there. RJ Barrett dropping 19 to be our highest scorer, and their highest scorer actually Tyrell Terry, of course a late first round draft pick this year. And now we're going toe-to-toe with the demon of a team that is the Brooklyn Nets. Of course, Kyrie, Harden, and KD, finding ourselves down 3-1 in the series here. And of course, we're going to hop into Simcast and see if we can kind of fight our way back a little bit. And yes, sir, a big performance there to get us a game 2. Christian Wood dropping 24 and 13, doing his thing to kind of carry us in that game. But here we go. Can we push it to an opportunity to go to Game 7 and get a third game here? And it's looking pretty good as we are up about 10, 114 to 105. KD doing his thing. Of course, you're not going to stop him, but you can slow him down. Chet actually leading the team in scoring. And in the opportunity to go to Game 7, we clutch up here and end up taking it 143 to 98 in a 45-point blowout. Coming back from being down 3-1 in this series up against the Brooklyn Nets. And of course, our former superstar in James Harden. And just like that, your Houston Rockets win an NBA championship, I would say fairly early in this rebuild. Of course, not 100% the most realistic trades, but I try to not do anything too crazy. I used what Trade Finder gave us. Chet actually leading the team in scoring there, followed by D'Angelo Russell. And we're going to actually see what we could do in the following season and see if we can potentially go back-to-back or make some new noise here, as D'Angelo Russell secures himself a Finals MVP there at a 92 overall. So obviously that trade did end up working out for us. As you can see, we're trying to bring in some role players off the bench here because we obviously don't have all that money. Most of our money is now tied up in our superstars, the guys who, just won us an NBA championship. So we're going to see what we could do here. Try to bring in some guys, Kendrick Nunn, Harrison Barnes, Brook Lopez, just some vets that could give us some good minutes. Looking at the player progression here, you can kind of see where everybody is sitting after our, obviously, NBA championship. D'Angelo Russell at a 92, 89 overall, Christian Wood, 88 overall, RJ Barrett, 86 overall, Kobe White, 85 overall, Precious Achiuwa, and some regression at the later side of our team, but those guys don't even really see the rotation anyways. They're like the 12th and 13th guy, so no stressing that. Seeing if we have to move anybody around position-wise here, and it's honestly looking pretty solid right now that we don't really have to move anybody around. Jabari Smith, we could potentially move to the backup power forward position as he stays the same overall. And we did just send him to the G League for some type of progression, so we will take that. Our team honestly is still looking very good on paper, so I'm interested to see if we can make some noise in the playoffs yet again here. We have a little bit of shooting, we have a bit of defense, and we have some bucket getters. So let's see what we could do. Kobe White, D'Angelo Russell, RJ Barrett, Christian Wood, and Precious Achiuwa still our big 5 here, rounding out our rotation. And I'm so happy to see Christian Wood actually be able to do it and be a starter year in and year out. 6-man goes to Chet, Duncan Robinson off the bench, Kendrick Nunn off the bench, Kenyon Martin Jr. off the bench, and Jabari Smith Jr. Let's see what we can do here. Hopefully we can make some noise coming in with a 4-star system proficiency. MVP actually going to LaMelo Ball pretty early on in this sim. DPOY going to Anthony Davis. And we finished with 61 wins. So actually an improvement in the regular season from last year. D'Angelo Russell putting up 19.1 points per game. 17 a game for RJ, which is a pretty good improvement from last year. About 3 points per game more. Kobe White doing his thing as well. And our team just looking very solid yet again. A lot of pieces just playing their part, which is kind of how you win an NBA championship in all honesty. So looking at the coaching, this is what our rotations are looking like. Heading into the playoffs here, Patrick Williams is our 6th man, which is just fine with me. First round matchup here up against the Sacramento Kings, of course, coming in as the 8th seed. So we don't want to get upset by them by any means. We find ourselves up 2-0 and 3-1, looking good. And we end up taking it in 5, moving us into the second round yet again. Kobe White leading the team with 22 points there. Second round here, we are going to be up against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Of course, we did play them last year, and we routed them on the way to our NBA championship run. And we find ourselves up 2-1, but they come back with a vengeance and just get 3 straight games. And that was one of the issues when you see TJ Warren. That dude is cold. 35-point performance from D'Angelo Russell having a little bit of a revenge game, but it was not enough. So we could not go back-to-back, but we definitely made this Rockets team a lot better than when we started the sim. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to smash that like button. Let me know what type of videos you want down in the comment section below going forward. It's been your boy Bean. Peace out.